Oh my God, did you hear that, Shayla? I think that was a city bus.
I think it was the Ottawa City bus. So that means I think we should talk about the Ottawa City Transit meeting.
I think so too, the one that just passed the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'm Mare,
I'm Shayla.
and we are both in Algonquin College's BELCD program currently, and we are doing an assignment to make a podcast on a community meeting.
So let's get into it. The type of meeting we attended was an Ottawa City Council meeting regarding the Transit Commission on the 10th of October, which was about 2 weeks ago. We joined via electronic participation via YouTube. It was held in the Champlain room. Sorry about that. It was held in the Champlain room at 1110 Laurier Avenue West.
Now that we know a little bit about the meeting, I think we should get into some of the agenda items they covered, because they did talk a lot about different things happening with the Transit Commission, and now we're going to get into all the different subjects that they touched on. They started out the meeting talking about equity between para and OC Transpo, specifically in regards to free days for seniors.
Increasing amounts of buses being made.
They talked about the spring launch and the new ways to bus movement, and just talking about how doing changes in winter can really be impactful to people's lives, so potentially moving them to being done in spring.
They also touched on the emission bus report update regarding electrical buses and paratranspo accessibility.
They also touched on vehicle collision rates and where OC and paratranspo ranks in comparison to other bus companies,
as well as making updates to their app to better the communication between bus drivers and the community
who are using the transportation. Keeping all those topics in mind, the meeting was 4 hours long, so we definitely want to touch base and talk about some of the things we felt were the most pressing issues and what seems to be the most important things to our community in our opinions.
The first topic I have in mind is just the fact that OC Transpo is wanting to switch from being diesel buses as well as electrical buses to just being strictly electric.
Oh yes, we should probably talk about that. I felt like that was pretty important.
As much as electrical buses are beneficial for the environment, they are not. They're not very time efficient. Charging an electrical bus takes more than half the time it would take to just fill a bus with diesel, making it not very efficient for faster routes, faster transportation, getting people where they need to be on time, buses running on time, etc.
Not to mention the amount of time it actually will be taking the mechanics to fix the electrical buses in comparison to the diesel buses. It just doesn't seem very time efficient for the community.
And speaking of time efficiency, another topic we want to talk about is equity between OC and paratranspo.
Throughout the meeting, Marty Carr specifically talks about advocating for funding from senior levels of government to further the equity between para and OC Transpo. He really speaks about suggesting how we need to look into what is morally right rather than what is best for the government and their funding. He suggests we need to start looking more seriously into service offerings for paratranspo users, specifically making paratranspo free on Wednesdays and Sundays for seniors, as it's already free for people on regular OC Transpo buses. This isn't very equitable. It's not fair. And it's something we really need to start looking into as a community.
So actually, this is something that we do talk a lot about in our program. Getting involved with your community, speaking up for what's right, voicing your opinions, And this gentleman who usually joins the meetings, his name is Kyle Humphreys. He has MS, and he comments on concerns regarding paratranspo accessibility, the need for more parataxis when the buses are full.
After hearing Kyle talk about this, I feel Shayla and I really felt like this was something super important that we needed to touch on in our podcast, as it's super important for members in our community like Kyle, who identifies as having a disability and needs to use paratranspo. It's super important for the community and people like him to be involved in the government's process and decision making when it comes to the transit.
I feel like Kyle is a good example of a leader in his community, as he is looking out for the well-being and improvement of his community.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like him speaking up also reminds me of in the program we talk about building relationships between community members and the people holding these types of meetings. He is addressing his needs and the needs of his community, and it's really helpful when building a relationship between the people running the meetings and the community members and getting things done.
I also just quickly want to add, there are updates being made to the current apps, and as somebody who does use OC Transpo very often, it's nice to see some progress and improvements being made to that department. And after attending this meeting, I've been reflecting a lot just regarding the fact that I am somebody who does use OC Transpo, and it's really, it really makes me happy to see that a lot of concerns are being addressed. That being said, I do want to start attending more meetings because they touched on a lot of issues that I too have as a OC Transpo user.
Yeah, and I totally feel like those are valid things for you to be reflective on. And I also did a lot of reflecting after listening to the 4-hour long meeting. I had lots of time to do reflecting. I felt like it was really eye-opening and shocking the amount of issues OC Transpo and paratranspo users have been having, as I am not somebody who currently uses public transportation. I too feel like I need to work harder to stay informed about these issues, as it is happening within my community. And I had no idea it was going on. I want to start helping advocate for paratranspo and OC Transpo users in any way I can. And even just staying informed, I feel like, is my own way of being a better community member.
So taking our feelings and the meeting into consideration, we definitely feel there has been a lot of improvements made, but there's definitely a lot more we can do.
Both the government and us as community members, I feel like we could do more. Whether that be staying more informed, whether that being attending more meetings, speaking up, just advocating for our needs within the community in regards to the public transportation.
And just advocating for people who are not able to.
I don't know about you, Shayla, but I feel like seeing and listening to this meeting was really beneficial, especially for our program, and showing me how leadership and a sense of community can be super important to making active changes in our systems.
Yeah, 100%. I fully agree with that. And with that being said, I think that sums everything that we've spoken about up.
Oh, I think our bus is here, Shayla. We better go.
We gotta go. See you later.
Bye, guys.